Hello, Tim here. Welcome to Shop Talk with Tim. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about refrigerator magnets. So in your travels, most people do this, is you pick up a souvenir. You're in the gift shop and you're looking for something and you want to bring something home. And oftentimes, if I can, I bring a piece of wood home and make my own souvenir with that. But magnets, refrigerator magnets, are everywhere. Your typical home, you'll see a refrigerator. Ours is certainly that way, just covered with magnets. And usually it's places that people have been. You're taking a piece of that home. So every time you go to the refrigerator, you're reminded of a happy event or something that is part of your life. And you got a story, and you don't always pay attention to it. But now that it's coming up to Valentine's Day, and I've done this before, I'm trying to think, okay, what can I make that isn't too involved for a Valentine's gift? I'm going to suggest to you that making a little heart magnet, a little refrigerator magnet that's shaped like a heart. Now, these are some of the other magnets that I've made in the past. This one's like a Christmas tree. Sometimes I've done this where I just buy a sticker. Maybe that the refrigerator magnets don't look that great to me, or maybe they're priced at $8-9 a piece. So I get a sticker for a couple of bucks and make my own background. This happens to be a button from a historic site, a reproduction button. It can't really tell here, but I carved this outline here and painted it silver. And this, I didn't make this, but I just added a magnet to it. It's a pair of pliers made out of one piece of wood from Warther Museum in Ohio. This baseball I did a number of years ago, where I carved the baseball and made a mold of it and made several of these. So those are just some examples of refrigerator magnets I've made. It's just some of my favorite ones. But this is going to probably be my new favorite one. If you want to make something like this, first of all, you got to make yourself a pattern. And this is just a piece of a shopping bag, and fold it in half, and then cut your profile, make it the shape you like. I have a couple different sizes that I've made, and if you're only going to make one, then you only just have to do the one. But if you're going to make multiples, which I did here, I did it on a heavier stock so I could trace it several times. So this pattern, I'll take the little one here. I've got 3/8 of an inch thick birch that I used. If you go any thicker than that, it can be a little bit too heavy to hold up on your refrigerator. It'll just slide down and fall. So this one gives me enough space to draw two of them on there, and I'll make two other small ones. But this is already cut out, and I pre-sanded the edges, and that's important to do so that you got that part done, because what I'm going to demonstrate is carving a textured surface. And you'll notice on the side here, I leave about 1/8 of an inch margin all around here. You don't want to come all the way to the bottom, because it gets like a knife edge, and that doesn't look too good. So the purpose of that I'm going to demonstrate here is start from the thickest part, and just gradually work the sides down. So that's just to give it some texture, some interest, and that's what I did for these. The gouges that I'm using for this, you can do this all with maybe a chisel if you want, but it's better to have this is a number 3 gouge, and the number 3 is just a very shallow curve. This is a number 3, but it's also what's called a fishtail gouge. And this is a number 4. And it's a little bit deeper curve, and not as shallow as this one. I use these both, and if you only had one, I would get a number 3. And this a chisel would would dig the sides would dig into your work. So let's get started here. I'm just going to cover the edges down. So you'll notice a little paper residue around here, a little exposed, and that's because I have this glued down with a paper joint. Now, one of the videos I've done in the past, I'm going to switch to this one here. I talk about paper joints, so I'm not going to elaborate on that, but that just gives you an opportunity to hold your workpiece down so you're not holding it in one hand and trying to whittle it with the other hand. Just a safer way to work. And these are just two spring clamps, big ones, that are just holding it onto the background, which in the trade is called a spoil board. And that means that you don't really care what happens to it. It can get spoiled while you're carving. I changed position. I could turn the board around, but sometimes it just takes time. So I'm pulling it towards me, and then at times I'll push it away. And sometimes you'll just feel how the grain wants to be carved, and you go with it. Now this is birch that I'm carving, and it's a pretty carvable wood. Not as soft as pine, but you just want to make sure first of all, make sure your tools are sharp, but then make sure that your cut's complete. And sometimes I slice across and kind of a skew cut in a sense, where I'm just kind of slicing it rather than pushing it. This is cooperating pretty good. Sometimes you get a little quirk in the grain and it wants to dig in, so then you gotta come back at it a different way. Now, kind of doing the top part last because I don't want to go in too deep here, but I'm just kind of keeping in mind of the margin around here. It shouldn't take too long. Now I use this fishtail gouge because it's got clearance. I can get in where the top part of the heart, where that crevice is there. I can get in with that. Now I'm kind of slicing it. So all you want, what you're really trying to go for is just that faceted look. And the wider number 3 gouge gives me that good background. Now I see that I'm digging in there. I need to kind of come back and straighten that out. Now I'm just about done. It's a little thick right here, and some of this, if it's too thick or you want it more even, you can do that later with a knife once it's off the board. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. All right, I would say I'd call that done. And if you're going to do a bunch of these for presents or something like that, you don't want to spend too much time on each one. Now it's time to take this off. I'm going to squirt some water on here to kind of get the glue a little bit soft. There. So you use a sharp chisel and that paper will just break away like that. Now I have a dish of water that I'll put this in and let it kind of saturate so that the paper will slough off. Now I'm going to let that sit and soak up. Here's an option for those of you that don't want to do the carving. You don't want to buy carving tools just for that, and you're not into carving, but you want to make a refrigerator magnet. This one, I mounted 3 magnets on there, so it's overkill for a refrigerator magnet. But the 3 magnets will allow you to work it as a trivet to put a coffee mug on. To color this, I'm going to talk just briefly about aniline dyes. I'll cover this more in depth in a different video. But this is where I really get the color in this dye that I want. You can't really find a pigmented dye, regular oil stain that'll be as vivid as this. So you get the idea that what this does. You probably should have some gloves on here, but it gets on your hands, it'll come off. Do the edges. So this dye is made by Transfast. I'll have a link to it, and it comes in powder form, and you mix it up in a big jug. This is what's left over. This, I keep it in a, I don't know, some kind of a vitamin bottle what I have left, and I've used a lot of this over the years. Now I have to let that dry, but it really makes the color pop, I'd say. So this is what it looks like once you're done and you have a top coat. You have to put a top coat on this kind of dye, because if you got it wet, it's going to come off in your hands like you see on my hands already. This is gloss lacquer on these. These are all 2 magnet varieties. And to put the magnet on, I use E6000 glue, which is a pretty good all-around craft glue. So that's what this is. These magnets are available in bulk from Amazon, I think, and Hobby Lobby, those kind of places, craft places. So then I put the magnet kind of in the middle there, and then let it sit. You don't want to use it until it cures. Now there's one more bonus thing I would say, an option, and that's these. This is kind of fun. So this is a little different kind of a magnet on the back, and you can buy these in bulk too. You just peel the sticker off. So this is a name tag magnet. So you could put your name on there, or your sweetheart's name on there, or if you're one of those types that like to wear your heart on your sleeve, you could put it on your sleeve. I like to get creative. I like creative ideas. So these two magnets here have the name tag on it, and I sell these at a local craft store. So that's just another idea for you to create gift items for sale. Refrigerator magnets should be, in my opinion, relatively inexpensive and just kind of fun. And you got your history on your refrigerator, and it's just, to me, it's more fun than sitting down looking through an old album of pictures, because it evokes memories, and then other people can enter into your experience in that place. So enjoy the journey, and thanks for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you would, and please subscribe. And if you got comments, please leave them below, suggestions and so forth. And we'll see you next time. Okay, she wants to be in the picture here, so let's... She's purring. I don't know if you can hear that. She's happy. Okay, you're in the picture.